Hello ladies, welcome to the podcast Living in Your Feminine with me, your host Victoria Janke. This is a safe place for you sisters. We're going to talk about all the feminine subjects, what it means to be a woman, how you thrive as a goddess, how you be successful in business, but we're also going to talk about subjects that people don't normally talk about, like miscarriage, because we want to educate people and also that women don't feel alone anymore. I have amazing experts who are going to give you so much value. So get a cup of tea and let's go. Welcome to another episode of Living in Your Feminine with your host, me, Victoria Janke. I am super excited. I have a dear friend of mine here with me today. Her name is Sabrina Hennings, a Kiwi girl. She traveled all the way from New Zealand to now living in Scotland, and she's an obsessive traveler. And one thing, fun fact, I was her nanny many years ago. Now you're all wondering how old is Victoria. Anyways, welcome Sabrina. How are you doing?
Thanks, Vicky. I'm good. I'm happy to be here. It's nice that we get the opportunity to do this.
This is so cool. And if you guys could see us now, we're literally hugging each other because I started this podcast and we're traveling in Spain and I just brought one microphone. So we're literally sitting in front of the microphone trying to get an amazing sound for you girls. So let's start. Get a cup of tea, my sister. And yeah, Sabrina, I want to ask 3 things that you have as a must-have in your handbag when you travel, since you're an obsessive traveler. What is it? 3 things.
So the first one, I would say definitely a good pair of sunglasses. I can't travel without sunglasses. I need my sunglasses always. The second one would be probably a good lip balm. I always use the same one. You probably have it from New Zealand too, the Lucas Pawpaw lip balm.
I love that. It makes you, your lips so soft. Yeah. So good for kissing. What's the third item?
Third one, I would say, probably just AirPods. You can listen to podcasts or music and cancel out any noises while you're traveling.
Baby screaming.
Right.
Couples fighting, your neighbor farting. Well, wait, then you need something for your nose too. No, literally, when you travel, you like experience the funniest things, right? Do you have any funny story from traveling, like something very annoying happening when you were traveling, like a baby screaming, throwing up at you?
I can tell a story from when my mom was traveling. It's the first one that's coming to my mind.
Yeah, tell me.
She was at a restaurant in Greece, and they were just sitting there having a nice dinner. And then on the table across from them, the women just like threw up all over the table. And the waiters were just apparently standing there like, what do we do with this situation?
It's a party! Woo! She had too much. What do they drink in Greece? I don't even know. Grappa? No, this is Italian. What do they drink? Put it in the comments if you know what they drink in Greece, and that makes them throw up sometimes. Well, I'm so happy you're here, and I want to share a little bit the story how we met, because I feel this is very special, and you're a very special person in my life. Sabrina and I met, how many years ago?
14, I think.
Oh, I feel so old. 14 years ago. And how this happened, like how does a German girl meet a girl from New Zealand? And for everyone who's wondering, where's New Zealand? This is very, very far away. Like far away. When you look at the world map, go to the right bottom behind Australia. This is where New Zealand is. I think I traveled for 24 hours nearly from Germany. It was insane.
Yeah, at least.
And I was 19 when I came to New Zealand. I remember I finished school and everyone was like, oh, you should study, you should do that. You know how people tell you should do things because everyone does it and you just feel like, no, this is not me. I want to do something different. And I remember I was going to an exhibition looking for universities because that's, what everyone told me. And then there was this like colorful stand with written on au pair. I was like, what is an au pair? So I started to talk with them. And they were like, yeah, you're living with a foreign family and you're going to look after the kids. And for this, you get accommodation, food, and pocket money. And you can do this up to a year. And you experience the country, New Zealand. And I'm like, wow, this sounds so good. I want to sign up. I have no idea where New Zealand is. I didn't even tell them. I was just like pretending I'm so cool. I'm like, yeah, New Zealand. Always wanted to go there. Sounds so cool. Let's get me on that. And I remember when I came home, I was looking at my world map. So I had like a world map in my room because I love to travel, same as you. And I thought New Zealand is where the US is or something. And I was literally looking for this country. I know, like I didn't listen in school when it came to geography. Not good. So, and then I was like, wow, this is far away. But then I made it to New Zealand and I had 3 beautiful host kids and one of them were you. So I'm like your mom in a way. I don't know.
My big sister.
Big sister more, right? I mean, your mom is so lovely and that was just changed my life. I just turned my life around. I was very shy and kind of depressed. And after I came back from New Zealand with all the responsibility, I was just a different person. And so that's how we met. So now you guys know that this is very special. And we share something in common, and that's traveling and also living abroad. Where did you live, like after New Zealand?
So I lived in Germany for about half a year. And then Spain, also about 5 or 6 months. And then I lived in Hawaii also for about 4 or 5 months. That was for a university exchange. And then I moved eventually to Scotland, and that's where I'm living now.
Yes, and you're getting married, as I can see from this like very shiny ring on your hand.
Yes, I'm getting married to...
At least one of us. I'm so happy for you, little sister. You need to tell us your tricks and tips. But today we're not talking about how to catch your husband. We already touched base a little bit in the last episode. You should definitely check it out. My interview guest was Laura. But back to the traveling. So for me, it was very life-changing when I made the decision to come to New Zealand. First of all, I was not good in English. My mother tongue is German, as you can maybe hear from my accent. My English is way better now. But I had to communicate in a different language. And from a sudden, I'm 19 years old and looking after more or less 3 kids. Like one kid, your sister was 6 and you and your brother were already like teenagers. So that was easy. But it was very, it made me just grow up so much. And as a woman as well, how was it for you, especially when you were an au pair in Spain as well?
I was, yeah. No, completely. It's a real growth experience. You're suddenly an adult and you have so many responsibilities. You're in a different culture with a different language. You become a different person and you have to think differently. You have to be able to adapt. You have to make friends. You have to learn to understand another language and understand other people. And you have to learn to be away from your friends and family, which can be hard sometimes as well.
How long did you stay in Spain?
5 or 6 months.
5 or 6 months. And you looked after, that's very interesting as well, because I love being an au pair so much that I went, after I traveled a little bit the world, after New Zealand, I went by myself to the US and Canada. Then I decided I still don't want to study. I want to travel more and I want to learn Spanish. So I became an au pair in Spain. And what is so cool, Sabrina then stayed with the same family after I left.
Yeah, so you changed my life as well.
Yes. So I'm so curious, what was the moment when you were in New Zealand and you were like, okay, I'm going to go to Germany? You went first, right?
Yes.
Yeah, what was the yeah, what was the calling for you? Like, what was the moment where you were like, I'm gonna go to Germany now? And how old were you again?
I was 16.
Wow,
So,
16. So
yeah.
how did you make this decision? Like what? Because that's a very brave decision, especially when you're 16 years old.
Yeah, so I saw exchange students at our school. I saw, like with you and au pairs that we had, people doing the same in New Zealand. So I saw that it was possible and that it was an amazing thing to do. Also, at that point, I felt like I was ready for an adventure. I felt like staying in New Zealand longer wasn't really helping me to grow anymore. And I felt like I needed something to push me forward a bit and to start my life and to really, give me some new experiences.
Wow.
So I made the decision to go to Germany, and then things just fell into place and it was meant to be.
Wow, that's very cool thinking when you're 16 years old. I wonder, how did you make it happen?
So when I decided that I was going to go to Germany, I told my mom that I wanted to do it and spoke to her about it. And now when I think about her reaction, it's very inspiring to me of how she handled it. So she was very supportive and told me basically, that's amazing. I really think it's a great idea. And now how are you going to make it happen? So I really felt in that moment like I had this incredible opportunity to make something for myself. I handed out my CVs all over the town where I lived, and I ended up getting a job working in a jewellery store. And I saved money as much as I could, and my mum really kept me accountable that year. And I really wanted to make this happen, and I was so focused on this goal of going to Germany. In the end, of course, I was 16 because my mum saw how hard I'd worked that year and how much I wanted it and how much I'd shown that this was something I really wanted by saving money myself too. She was willing to help support the rest of the trip. So I learnt that from that I had to work for something to make it happen, but it was possible. I just had to put in the effort.
Wow, this is so cool. And how inspiring is her mom to not be like, hey, I give you the money and here you go. No, he's like, okay. She's like, I support you, so how can you make it happen? So she empowered you and you got a job when you were 16, you saved money, and then she supported you too. But first she made you step into your own power. Very beautiful, very powerful. And how did you deal, because I felt homesick, right? And for everyone listening, I mean, it's one thing to make the step. And I would encourage everyone who's listening now, it's like, it's incredible when you step out of your comfort zone, what can happen and what you learn about yourself and how you grow. Especially as a woman, we get taught so much. We have to be like some kind of way, right? We need to study or get a job and then get married, have children, and we need to dress or look a certain way. So there's a lot of like what women should be. And I feel traveling really gives you that freedom. The feminine is free, right? So I feel when you said also when you're 16, I was like, I'm ready for adventure. I'm ready to start my life. I'm ready to step into the woman that I'm becoming. So it's so beautiful. How did you then deal did you feel homesick at all?
Yeah, for sure. It was hard sometimes. You're so far away from your friends and family. Like, it's not possible to
Especially from New Zealand to Germany, it's very, very far away. The time difference is 11 hours. Just wanted to add that so you get a feeling how far away New Zealand is from everything, but it's a beautiful country. So yeah, how did you deal with the homesickness?
So I made some really good friends, and I think that was the biggest thing that helped me, to have people that I could rely on, people that I could talk to about everything, that were also going through the same things in some cases, with other friends that were there from other countries. I think when you're homesick, it can be harder as well if there's a tough situation. To realize that you have to deal with that situation yourself and away from your friends and family. And of course, things go wrong when you're traveling. There's problems, you can make mistakes, and it can be hard when you don't have the people closest to you around you in those moments. But it can make you so much stronger. And I really learned that I had to find a way to pull myself out of some of the harder times and move forward from it. And I think it's a really important life lesson that there are always going to be tough moments when things don't work out the way that you hope they would, but you learn from it and move on. Also just realizing when I needed a little bit of time to myself to just think and absorb the moment and maybe slow down for a minute and journal a bit, or just let myself do whatever I needed, rather than trying to keep up with people around me maybe, or go out if I didn't feel like going out. And I think that was really important, to just realize when you maybe need to give yourself a minute. Yeah.
I love that, especially giving yourself a minute. Since we're in Living in Your Feminine, the podcast, it's all about the feminine. That is very feminine, to slow down and to take care of yourself. Because a lot of time, especially women now in our society, they think they need to be always like go, 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 go. Like the masculine, like the man, always go, go, go. But the feminine takes care of herself in order that she then can take care of others. So it's so beautiful what you said, and I want to really point that out. So the first thing is, and I feel this is not just with homesickness, right? You can use this for anything, is to step back and to ask yourself, okay, what do I need in this moment?
Right.
Do I need to journal my thoughts down so they're out of my system? Do I need to take a hot bath? Or do I need to meet with some friends who are like-minded? And this is another point, what I experience as well when I travel in general in my life. It's proximity is power. So the people you surround yourself with, these are the people who either lift you up or who who take your energy away. So It's very important with whom you surround yourself with.
It's so true. Yeah. And the right people can make all the difference.
Yeah. And you learn as well. I always tell my coaching clients, I tell them, if you want to be a millionaire, for example, or you want to be a badass, hottest, goddess, millionaire woman in the world, right? Surround yourself with 5 women who have what you want to have and learn from them. And I always say a friend is also someone who kicks your butt. In America, they say ass. So that when you're down, that they, of course, lift you up, but also tell you hey, okay, you need to do something now. Call your family or get a workout so you get it out of your system. And I know you have very beautiful friends. I mean, we have a beautiful friendship now as well for many, many years. And I would like to ask you about you talked about your routine. Can you tell me your routine? Because we're traveling together now. We're in Spain. Actually, we're combining our passion for traveling and spending some time. And I see you in the morning. You always sit outside in the sun. You're writing something down. So can you share with us your routine?
Sure. Yeah, for me, it's really important to ground myself every day before I start the day. I really don't think that rushing straight into the day is the right thing to do. I really believe that you need a few minutes to set your intentions and to give yourself the best possible start to a day. So I love to either go for a walk in the morning or do a yoga class. That's my normal routine with travel this week. Like you said, Vicky, I've been sitting outside and journaling. Journaling is always helpful in the morning, I think, or reading an inspirational book for a few minutes can be a really nice start to the day as well. And a matcha latte. That's my normal routine.
Oh, we love a good matcha latte. I don't drink coffee, but matcha I love. But we didn't find a matcha here yet, but we had other beautiful beverages.
Right, but I think Spain's not really that big on matcha. And that's another thing when you travel, you have to be adaptable, right? You have to be able to, change your routines, because it's not always possible to do exactly what you do at home. So you have to find another way to still fulfill yourself in the same way.
I love that what you said about changing your routine, and I feel that's also not just for traveling, it's also when life throws at you something that might seem a little bit tough in the morning, or in the moment, can be in the morning. And maybe your kids are like screaming at you, or suddenly someone in your family died. And so it's also adapting to the current situation. What can I do to be me and to go into this situation, for example? I feel that you can use in different areas in your life.
That's exactly it. I think being adaptable is so important, like for travel, but it's a life skill that you learn from travel. And I think you have to be adaptable to be able to move forward in life, because otherwise you're always going to do the same things and be the same person. And I think being okay with having to change things and not feeling like it has to be the same all the time is a really good thing, because then you don't move forward, right? Yeah.
And I mean, life is so beautiful. Isn't it beautiful that we are able to travel to different countries, that we decide if we want to drink a matcha or coffee today, and that we are having these choices and these opportunities, and we don't need to do everything the same day. I mean, yes, a routine is beautiful. And we need some structure in our life, right? But then it's also some freedom, some change up some things. And I feel this is so important in order to be happy, and in order to be really living in your feminine, to be going a little bit with like the ocean, the feminine, going with the flow.
It's so true.
With the wind, the rain, and the sun.
But I like what you said about needing to be able to do that to be happy, because it's true. I think some people forget that there's many ways that you can be happy, and just because something's changed, it doesn't mean that you can't be happy with whatever other opportunity has been presented to you, right? And I think sometimes you just have to remind yourself to really be grateful. It's so important to be grateful for all of these incredible experiences and everything that you get to do with your life. And sometimes you have to realize that even if things change path a little bit, that you're still grateful, and you remember how much you have in your life and how lucky you really are.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same, for example, you're getting married now. You have been together with Lee, your beautiful future husband. I had the pleasure to meet him as well. You have been together with him for 7 years. And I mean, you were dating other guys before, and you were probably heartbroken. But then imagine if this change wouldn't have happened, you wouldn't have met Lee. And if you wouldn't have not made the decision to go from New Zealand to Germany to, Hawaii, Scotland, did I get it right?
Germany, Spain, back to New Zealand, Hawaii, back to New Zealand, and then to Scotland.
Yeah. What she just said. If you wouldn't have made the decision and accepted the changes, you wouldn't have met your husband.
Right, isn't that crazy?
Imagine that. Or if I wouldn't have made the decision, I'm coming to New Zealand, I'm changing something now in my life. I'm not doing what everyone else is doing, going straight to university. I'm going to New Zealand to be an au pair. I would have never met you. And I would have probably be depressed, because I was when I was at this age. I was just shy, I was depressed. And when I came back to Germany, my grandparents, who are my everything, they told me and my whole family and friends said it, I completely changed. I became so open-minded, so like I connect with people. What now is my work and my passion to connect with people and to help them and to be happy. If you think about this, right? Like what one decision can change, and then also being open to the changes in your life.
That's exactly it. One decision can change everything. So if you're open to changes, you can change your life completely if you want to. You can take your life in any direction that you want to, and all it really takes is a decision.
And the life of others as well, because look, now we are talking about, and I hope whoever's listening here, sisters, that this inspires you to pack your suitcase and to travel somewhere, even if it's just going to another city in your country, or even going to in like a spa, or in like in an Asian spa or something, so you experience something different. Just step out of your comfort zone and then experience what is happening with you, because this is not just opening your mind, it's opening your soul, and it's you gonna retouch with your feminine. I can promise you that. And the best thing is also if you have a friend like we do now, right, and we travel together. I think this is so inspiring.
But I really like what you said about getting out of your comfort zone, because that's what I thought about when I made the decision to move to the UK. Like, my life in New Zealand was great. It was comfortable. I knew what my life would basically look like if I stayed in New Zealand. And yeah, it was a nice life. New Zealand's a great place, but I don't think I ever would have grown as much or developed who I was supposed to be if I stayed in New Zealand. And I always felt like travel was the answer for me, and to live somewhere else and to challenge myself much more. And I think it's exactly the same for you.
That is so beautiful what you said. Stepping out of your comfort zone. So write this down. Stepping out of your comfort zone doesn't have to be traveling. Can be, like I said, can be also that you maybe start to learn a music instrument, or that you start to learn a language, or you go to a different city, or you go to a different restaurant than you normally do, or you do a different sport. So stepping out of your comfort zone, I feel this is so important in order for us to grow, not just as women, also for the men who are listening. This is so important.
And I have a yoga teacher that told me something similar recently, and it's really made me think. She said, like, to step out of your comfort zone is really the only way that you're going to feel like you have a life well lived. Don't you think that's so impactful? Like, you want to have a life well lived.
When you step out of the comfort zone,
that's how you build that. Yeah.
Wow. Very beautiful. Talking about yoga, we did yoga 2 days ago. We both share not just the passion for traveling, also for yoga. And you're a Pilates trainer, right? So how did you, I know you studied, what did you study?
I studied a business degree.
Business degree, and now you're a Pilates trainer, and you're also a project manager in the space industry. It's like if Sheldon from Big Bang Theory and Serena from Gossip Girl would have a daughter, that would be you.
That's right.
Yeah. That is so cool. This is like, okay, the feminine and the masculine together. What we all have, by the way, right? But we all have a core, and I encourage everyone to step into their core, and we are in our feminine core. So how did you end up being these two things, like a Pilates trainer plus a project manager in the space industry? That's a very long sentence too. But yeah, how did you end up doing these two things? And you're having passion for that as well.
Yeah. I love my work. I kind of fell into project management very naturally. I was given an opportunity at work, and I loved it straight away. When I started, I felt like project management aligned so well with my natural skill set, like planning and organizing and helping others, coordinating between people. It just felt like it was right for me. So I've continued to go down that career path. And then a few years ago, I did my Pilates teacher training. And I think there were a few reasons for that, but I felt like I needed something a little bit more creative and to fulfill me in a different way. And then I just love health and wellness, and Pilates has always been so important to me and has helped me so much in so many ways. I think, Pilates and yoga can just help so much mentally if you're having a tough time or if you're stressed in your life. Taking the time to do something like that for yourself can really just be the best thing that you can do.
It's so good. For me, Pilates is a workout, but also so relaxing at the same time. And I love the mix of it. The same with yoga. I love that. So tell me, because we talked a little bit before as well, and we talked about saying yes or no. So it's also okay to say no to things or to say yes to things. And for me, for example, it was like, I'm not going to study now. That was my no. And yes, I'm going to New Zealand. And that's the same for you, right? So how important?
I think you have to realize who you're saying yes or no for. And the answer to that always needs to be yourself, right? If you're saying yes to something that you know shouldn't be a yes, then you shouldn't be saying yes.
Ladies, listen to that. When you have a moment and you have a question in your mind or someone is asking you a question, touch your belly, breathe in deeply 3 times. Well, one after one. And out. And you do that 3 times. And then you ask yourself that question. Like, for example, should I eat banana bread today? And then you're touching your belly and this feeling, I'm talking about the feeling, not about the mind, the feeling that you have, that is the answer. And what is that? That's the feminine intuition. And we need to start learning to trust that more, to be less in our mind and to be more connected to our intuition. And this is when you say, Sabrina, saying yes to yourself. I believe strongly in that. If we pause, breathe, and get connected with ourselves again, then we find the right answer that is aligned with us and with the others. And who doesn't accept your no, let me give you that. Maybe that's a person that you don't want or need in your life anyways, right? So we don't need to say yes to everything. Also not no to everything, but we need to be true to ourselves. And when we're being true to ourselves, we're also attracting the truth in our life.
I think it's true for big decisions and small decisions. Like, it's what you said, whether you're going to study or travel, or whether you want to go out one night or not go out one night.
I have a banana bread. Oh, no, banana bread.
Exactly.
I love banana bread though. I am so grateful that life brought us together. I really believe that every person that comes in my life comes for a reason, that nothing is a coincidence. And I'm so grateful that you stayed in contact with me, that I stayed in contact. And now next year we're going to celebrate your wedding in New Zealand. What brings me back to New Zealand? I'm so excited. And I'm just so grateful that we have a couple of days here more in Spain. And I know it's not the last time. We're going to travel more because we're travelers. And I want to give you the chance to, if you could give one more wisdom of yours with your 28 beautiful years to the world out there, to the women out there, what would it be?
I think it's just so important to stay true to what you really want. So I think it comes back to what we're saying about saying yes or no, but you need to think about that in a bigger sense, like, what do you want for your life rather than what do other people want for your life. And I think people forget to look at things with that perspective sometimes. But it's so important to really think about what you want to achieve and what your goals are, and not maybe what society's goals for you are, or what anybody else's goals for you are.
Or what social media is telling you how you should look or act like a woman, or what the politicians or the magazines do. So really believe in yourself, be true to yourself, surround yourself with people who want the best for you. And I thank you so much. That was so inspiring. Is there any way that we can stay in contact with you? Is there a website or social media? Where would you like, if someone wants to reach out to you or maybe get a Pilates training or some more inspiring quotes, where can they find you?
Yeah, so I'm still in the process of setting up my Pilates Instagram and business. So for now, my personal Instagram account is the best place to find me. So that's at Sabrina Kate H. You can link it.
Sabrina. Yes, I will write it in the description. And I thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky.
If you like this episode, please rate, subscribe, and share with other women. Let's create a community of women living in their feminine and supporting each other. If you want to stay connected with me, you can come and follow me on my personal account at victoria.janke. Until then, I see you next Thursday. Be thriving, goddess, and live in your feminine.